Hello guys and gals of the internet, it's The7chaos of YouTube, Mixer.com and Twitch TV. Welcome to the first 7chaos previous episode for 2019. And what an absolute perfect episode to start the year off with Resident Evil 2. No, this is not the original game, this is the remake that was announced a few years ago. It's finally here. Everyone was kind of worried that it would probably fall into development hell and all sorts of other fears that come with the development of a video game, but we have almost made it. It's almost here, and boy am I excited. The Resident Evil 2 original game released on the PlayStation 1 back in 1998, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, I believe it is 1998. And the original is still to this day one of my favorite games of all time, and by quite some margin my favorite ever Resident Evil game. I believe in Resident Evil 5 I didn't really talk about my history with the series that much. I would say this: I've played the first one, remake and original. I've definitely played the second one, as you guys have already known by what I just said. Resident Evil 3 I never touched, never even knew it existed. And then obviously Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6, I've obviously played all of those. I like 5 and 6 more than most people. They are the most critically polarizing games in the series, but I personally enjoyed them. And then I've obviously played the Resident Evil Revelations series, and I loved both of them. The only other ones I haven't played would be Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code Veronica. To that scene for Resident Evil 0, check out in the top right corner of the screen right now. That'll take you to my playthrough of Resident Evil 0. That hasn't started going up as of yet, but I'll probably put it up tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, I have started that playthrough. It is going to be coinciding with this, because it's one of those I haven't really beaten at all, yet alone on YouTube yet. Resident Evil 6 will be coming sometime in the near future. We can't really specify when, but it is one of mine and Time Lady's planned games to do eventually when we get round to it. And that'll pretty much round off the Resident Evil series once that game is done. And the only one that left for me that I could possibly do is Code Veronica, because Code Veronica is one of the only games on the PS4 that is kind of backwards compatible in a way, I suppose. Whereas all the other ones I've already played, and I can't play 3 or 2 original, which is kind of sad. Unfortunately, you know, I didn't really have the foresight of the want to do Resident Evil 2's original story. When I had a PlayStation 3 recording my Michael Schumacher years, I didn't really have the foresight that I wanted to do it for some reason. I really should have given it a shot, and I never did, and I kind of regret it. But with Resident Evil 2 2019, or remake, or whatever you want to call it, being almost exactly the same game to a T, I don't think we're going to have that much of an issue, to be honest. From what I've heard of it, this is pretty much the original, really updated to bring it into the modern era of graphics and everything, but I think everything in this game pretty much remains intact. That there are A and B scenarios. I can confirm that other people have confirmed that there are A and B scenarios for both characters, Leon and Claire. So I will be doing this playthrough in the canon story, as it were, which is Claire A, Leon B. I believe that's the story from the original game that is canon, per se. So I will be doing this playthrough in that order. Whether I'll do the Claire B and the other stuff, I'm not sure. I mean, I never unlocked the additional modes, like the tofu mode and the mode with Hunk. I never unlocked those modes. I'm not really a completionist, and I don't think I ever did a B scenario, like ever. I don't think I even booted up, or if I did and I got lost, because the B scenario, as you know, is a totally different part of the game. You know, you don't go to the gun shop, for instance, I don't think. I could be wrong, but yeah, you don't go there. And it kind of, B sends the scenario backwards, and then you've got Mr. X appearing. I think to be honest, I saw Mr. X or Tyrant and just never played the game again after that, because holy shit, I'm kind of like Vash. I don't like being chased. No, that shouldn't be a problem here. And honestly, I was a kid back then, so Jesus Christ, did I have nightmares? No, I'm joking. Yeah, this game is pretty much what set the Resident Evil series in stone for me. And as with a lot of other people, I think for a lot of people, it was their first Resident Evil game that really took off. You know, people did play Resident Evil 1, but some people had like problems with the acting or problems with this and that. You have to remember that's like 1996, so you know. But oh boy, there's just so much I love about the original Resident Evil 2. I love it. Sherry Birkin and Claire Redfield, two of my most good characters in the entire series, along with Leon, of course. But what's actually quite interesting is that after Resident Evil 2, Leon and Claire didn't appear again for some time. I believe Claire was first, though. I think Code Veronica came out before Resident Evil 4. It most certainly did, actually. I don't know why I'm debating that, but what we'll have noticed with Resident Evil is characters really seem to space out. You know, like Resident Evil 2 was the entry point for Leon and Claire, and then it went back to Jill, and then it went back to Claire, and then it went back to Leon, and then Ada came back, and it's like there's a lot of spacing between the Resident Evil series in terms of characters. Like after Resident Evil 1, Chris wasn't in the game again until Code Veronica, and then missed out on 4 and was back in 5. So I kind of like that. That's actually one thing I have loved about the Resident Evil series. The characters are very evenly spaced out. You know, Sherry doesn't appear again in a Resident Evil game until Resident Evil 6, and her debut was this game. So wow. And that character development is absolutely clear to see for all people. And I think that's I was in love with Sherry before, but seeing her in Resident Evil 6 all grown up was like, oh my god. It was just so good to see so many elements of this game return in Resident Evil 6, and I think that's why I give it more of a free pass. Not only was it a better game than people give it credit for, because Resident Evil 6 gets a lot of hate, it really does. I don't really see why. But I think all the nostalgia that came in from the classic Resident Evil games like Leon and Sherry and Chris, no Jill and no Claire, which for reasons you could probably understand now that we've played Revelations 2 and you kind of take Jill's scenario from Resident Evil 5 into account. Now that those have been done, you kind of understand why they weren't in the game if they did miss out. So now that we've done that, we kind of see why they weren't in Resident Evil 2. It was quite missing though, because I think when you think, like I said in Resident Evil Revelations 2 at one point, you say that, you know, when you think of Leon, you think of Sherry and Claire, and when you think of Chris, you almost immediately think of Jill, you know, being stars, BSAA and all that. So yeah, but like I said, there's still a lot of spacing between characters in Resident Evil series, and I think this series is one of my favorites of all time, honestly. It's one of those series that, you know, like Sonic the Hedgehog, that I've kind of played the majority of the series of. Like with Sonic, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a couple of other spin-off games. You know, Resident Evil's the same. You know, I've played the rail shooters with Town Lady Games. When we were doing camera playthroughs way back when, two of the games we actually played on the PlayStation 3 were the rail shooters. But unfortunately we can't really do those anymore either, which is rather unfortunate, because they were actually really good games. They were really good kind of bite-sized episodes throughout the Resident Evil series, up to about 4, I think it kind of ends a little bit after 3. There's this kind of side scenario that Leon is involved in, and then it kind of stops there. So then you have to play Resident Evil 4 onwards to find out the rest of the series lore and such. And obviously with the critically acclaimed Resident Evil 7 returning the series to its roots and everything, and I think that is where this game will shine. Honestly, let's get back more into the game itself, because I have played the demo. There'll be another card right about now in the top of the screen that will take you to my thoughts on the demo, the 30-minute one-shot demo that released a week ago. I think it was only like a week or two ago that came out. I didn't really know what really to do in that first episode, so like check it if you want my thoughts on it. But I think for the most part I didn't really get very far in the demo because like I said in those thoughts, if you want to just stay here for a minute, I said that in that demo for the first 10 minutes I was thrown off with no idea what to do, because it feels so different. Like in the first steps in the police station that you went to. Now, if you remember from the original game, there was no set of stairs. There was a couple of ramps that led to different doors. The one on the left leads you to a door where Marvin is in. That door in the demo didn't open. It was I think it was a key door, I'm not sure, but it didn't open, like, immediately. So the first thing I do when I see this is go left. I go to the left and I go immediately to the door, only to find it's locked, and I'm like, what? What the fuck? This is what you did in the original game, you went to the left first. I assume it was like from where you enter the police station because you're right by the door. And then I find that there's these sets of stairs that lead up to the top floor. In the original, there's only a ladder that can allow you to do that. So immediately, I'm completely thrown off. I'm completely thrown off. And guys, it's like I said in that demo thoughts. Do not have the map of the original or your kind of memories of the original drummed into your head. Because let me tell you, this is a remake at the extreme degree. This is a remake to a T. When it says remake, it's not kidding. The whole police station is completely different. Well, not completely different, but it's massively different to the point where there's stairs that lead up to the second floor, as well as a ladder that was originally there in the original game. And I think it just shows what 19 years has done to this game. This is a 19-year-old game now. No, I take that back. It's a 21-year-old game, actually. Yeah, this game's 21 years old now, as of next month, I think. So yeah, 21 years is quite a long time. And I think this game's development really shows how far the game has come in 21 years with this remake. It's so glaring and in your face, but then there's obviously some similarities. Like, the doors are still there, even though you can't go in them, the doors are still there. Like, the main door on the left is actually, I don't think it's the save room anymore. I think they've switched the rooms around. Like, I don't think it's the save room anymore. It's something else. I think it did look familiar. I was trying to remember what that room looked like. That door is still there, but you just go through it a different way. I noticed in the demo that when you get the knife from Marvin, you actually cut off the tape that keeps the door closed. So it's actually more of a reinforced door than the wooden doors from the original. In the what you actually do in the demo is go straight to the right, past this fortified door again. You know, this door is fortified. It was a wooden door back then. So much of this game, when I play through this game, I think it's going to throw me off. I think it's really going to throw me off, and I'm going to have no idea where to go. And I think that's kind of the way to do it, but for someone who's played the original game so many times like me, it's going to be quite jarring for a bit, and that's in a good way. That's not a bad way whatsoever. I only say that because it is so different to what it was originally. So I would say, for a tip, don't have the original in your head. Treat this as a brand new game. Treat this as when the game first released, because that's what it's going to feel like for a lot of the time. You are going to realize some places, but treat this as a new release. Don't treat it as like a remake of just a port of the first game, because it's not that. It's much bigger than that, and that's a good thing. This is a remake done right. This is what remastered should be like, you know, not just a port of a PS3 game or anything like that. This is a remaster remake to a T. This is how it should be done. And I think this is one of the games that deserves this, because I said it in the demo thoughts, this game has to be good, because this is a game close to a lot of people's hearts. This is the game that was probably many people's entry point to the series for a lot of people. Some people did play 1, or maybe most of the majority did, but this, for me personally, was my entry point into the series, because I never owned the first game. I had it, but I think it belonged to my dad. That's a funny story. I think I got it eventually, but I think I'd played 2 beforehand. See, that's what I mean. I played 2 myself first. So yeah. Treat this as a brand new release. Don't treat it as like the original game just ported over. And I think that's really kudos to Capcom. And like I said, I think a lot of stuff has been learned from the critical acclaim that Resident Evil 7 received. The only thing that doesn't really feel like Resident Evil 7 was the first-person view. If you remember, Resident Evil 7 was VR compatible, so what they had to do to kind of give that is the first person view, and I think VR was always the push for PlayStation Resident Evil 7 because PlayStation VR was relatively new when Resident Evil 7 came out. So I think that's probably why they had to do that. For this game, they've gone more back to the over-shoulder view from Resident Evil 4. And like I said in that demo store, I think a lot of people would have looked at that and thought, oh god, no, not Resident Evil 5 and 6 again. We want fixed camera angles and shit. Personally, I don't think fixed camera angles would work for this game because of how different it looks. I think fixed camera views, we've gone a long way past that. I don't think it would work in a game this day and age. I really don't. I don't think I've ever seen, since the classic Resident Evil games, I don't think I've ever seen a game with fixed camera angles again. I think they're the only games that had them. And I think it's just another sign of how different games are in 21 years later. And I really think with such a big gap, I don't think fixed camera angles are going to work. So I think Capcom have done the right thing by making the viewpoint they have, and they haven't gone classic to a T and given you fixed camera angles. I don't think they would work. I really don't think they would work in this day and age. We're long way past that at this point. So I think what a lot of people would have a critique with that, I really do kind of get it, but I also get that, we're kind of a long way into the future now. It has to, if you're going to remake a game like this, you have to give it some modern elements, and that Capcom have. So I'm more than happy with the viewpoint. I think I said in the demo that this remake is a mixture of all the games. I think it has something for everyone. It has Resident Evil 4, despite the camera view, was a very popular game. It was, for many people, including my friend Rob, it was his favorite game ever. So I think with that in mind, I think the overview point is going to be fine. But like I said, I think it has a lot of elements from previous Resident Evil games. The atmosphere, just for the 30 minutes, the atmosphere is to a T for Resident Evil 2. Despite the newer camera angles, what they've done is giving you the anxious feeling of not knowing what's around the corner anyway. Because one of the rooms is so dark, and you couldn't see shit. And I was just, when I started actually getting past the first room, because, I spent 10 minutes wondering where the hell to go first. Once I got a kind of feel for where I was, I don't think I ever ran. I really don't. Because there is the run button. Even the controls are very similar to the original, where you hold square to run, like you did in the original game. There is that, but I don't think I did. Because I'm just walking, I'm walking, and the whole time I'm feeling this same anxiousness I felt with the original game. I'm going to tell you something, the original game probably made me shit my pants for most of it. I grew numb to it eventually as I got older and I started to play it more. Eventually I knew what was coming, but I feel like this is a re-release. I really feel like I'm going to be playing it for the first time again, because that demo was just like, if this is feeling really new, and I don't know where anything fucking is. I think I said in the demo that at one point I hear this noise and I immediately just run. I immediately just run into this room because I know what this room's gonna be. And I walk in, and there's this. You remember the school class with the fire in the back? So, like I said, I'm going in and I kind of see, oh, there's a fire in the back, and suddenly I hear this thing and I turn around and this zombie has gone through the doorway. That's a new thing in this game. Now zombies will follow you into other rooms. You're not safe anymore. Oh my god. This feeling is going to leave me on edge. Until I get used to it, this first playthrough, I can feel it. It's going to be on edge all the time. I'm going to be like wondering where anything is. And I kind of don't like that. Because now that this game is so different and not the original game, now you don't know where anything is. Like, I walked into the corridor and I realized the corridor, and I was totally expecting the liquor just to drop out in front of my face, and it never appeared, and I was like, oh, where the fuck is the liquor? It's not here. And it's like, oh my god, I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be so good. I can feel it. It's the original, but it's not. It's original in terms of stature, but everything just feels incredibly different. And I cannot wait. And I think when I eventually get to it, the B scenario is probably going to be even worse. You think my Claire A playthrough is going to be a complete nerve wreck? B is going to be even worse, dude, because I've never even beat that scenario before. I think I played it, got to Mr. X, was like, nope, turning the game off. That won't happen this time. But, oh my goodness, oh man, they've done it right. Capcom have taken so many good lessons from what made Resident Evil 5 and 6 so critically, not panned, but people were thinking, oh, this isn't really a Resident Evil game. And then Resident Evil 7 returns the series to prominence, and they've taken everything from every Resident Evil game, and they've made it work, but they haven't made it overly action-orientated like 5 and 6 were. So, they've even come up with the inventory from Resident Evil 7. I think the save points, I'm not sure how the save points are going to work. I don't know that one. That's the only thing I don't really know from the demo, because obviously you're not allowed to save. Well, I wouldn't say you're not allowed to save, but you couldn't save in the demo. That's better wording. Couldn't save in the demo because it's a demo and you only had 30 minutes. 30 minutes was not enough to be alert about this part. But that was smart. That was a smart marketing move, because they wanted you to only have 30 minutes. They didn't want people beating that part in 10 minutes because they knew where everything is. Now you've only been able to play 30 minutes, you don't. You only know the parts you played. You don't know anything beyond that. Smart. Very smart from Capcom. Oh my goodness me. Resident Evil 7 returned the series to prominence, and I think Resident Evil 2 2019 is going to keep it there. And like I said, this game has to be good, because this is a game for a lot of people that are very close to their hearts, me included. I think the original has been done justice and brought into the modern era with this game. I really do. I really do. I mean, the only thing I'm worried about is where to go, because obviously, like I said, it's very new. So I think even with that in my head that I was telling you about, I think I'm still going to try and go the original direction that I tried to. So, yeah. Now, for the playthrough, it is going to be, like I said, it is going to be Claire A, Leon B. Claire A, Leon B, because that was the canon story, as it were. So I will be doing the playthrough in that order. Whether I'll be doing Leon A and Claire B, I don't know. I'll probably not do those as playthroughs, because I don't want so much of this footage being there, because there's really no point. If you're going to do Claire A, Leon B, there's no real point doing it the other way around. So I might stream those afterwards. I might take a bit of a break at some point and stream those. And I'll obviously be recording Resident Evil 0 as well. I haven't really gone past the first. I've gone past the train part, but I haven't really gone any further than that. So I'll probably be doing some tonight. And I'll be probably doing some every now and then whilst I'm not playing this, and then going back to this. So as long as I have constant footage of Resident Evil, like both the games I'll be doing over that time, I should be fine. So I'll be kind of alternating maybe, or maybe in one day if I'm up early enough, I might do Resident Evil 7 in the morning or afternoon, and Resident Evil 2 at night. That's something I might do. But yeah, it's going to be pretty much all those games from pretty much now on, here on out. And then maybe Resident Evil 6 will be maybe the next thing we do if Tom is up to it. Obviously we haven't got a hard drive yet, so that puts paid to things. And then obviously in about just a little under 2 weeks time, my uncle should be coming over to change this entire setup I'm using. Now, obviously I'm not going to tell in this video because it's direct captured through my PS4, but I'll talk more about that when we get there. Because we don't really know if he's. We kind of figured that he's going to be here unless it really snows somewhere. And we had a bit of a scare last night. We had some snow, and I was like, oh no. But it's all cleared up at the moment. It's been sunny all day, so that's kind of cleared it up. So as long as it doesn't snow really bad, my uncle should be coming over to change that. I should have enough footage to kind of take us through. I mean, it's only going to be a day. I might not even upload anything that day because obviously I'll have the before and after when you guys do that. So, but I'll have a channel update, explain more about that when we get there, because I want to know that he's coming first before I do anything like that. But yeah, hopefully I should be finished with these two by then anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. If not, then obviously it's not good. As long as it's like I've always said, as long as I finish it in terms of recording, I'm not really worried about anything else. It's just the recording that sometimes when something doesn't finish and I take forever to go back to it, I somehow just forget about it. I did that with Batman Arkham City, but eventually I did go back to it. I won't leave that gap so long for this or Zero because, like I said, with Resident Evil just as a whole, but especially 2, it's my favorite of the series so far. And I think, like I said, there's elements for everybody in this game, plus 3, well, in some cases 4, but, well actually, yeah, in everybody's case 4 favorite characters in the series, Leon, Claire, Sherry, and Ada. So, yeah. Yeah, so, wow, I mean, just from some of the footage you've seen, it's like the fight against William is totally different, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be a bit lost. But I will do my best, and I will try to jog my memory at some points if I have to, but I just feel that this game is gonna be so different that I'm not gonna need it. And like I said, treat this as a new release. That's pretty much it, I think. There's not really much else to say or do except wait for this game to come out. Oh boy, what a start to the year with one of my favorite games ever brought into the modern world. I couldn't think of any better way to start this year. I really couldn't. And that's pretty much it, guys. You guys know what to do. Subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. This will release on Friday, along with Resident Evil 0. I might start Resident Evil 0 at the same time as well, just to say, you know, I got to like do my playlists at the same time, so I don't lose track of what I'm uploading on a certain day. Well, that's just a weird thing with me, I suppose. But yeah, be on the lookout. Once again, check out my thoughts on the demo in the card at the beginning of the video, or whenever I decide to put it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. And you guys know what to do. Subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And I will see you for the beginning of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 0 in 1 day, 6 hours, 16 minutes, and 29 seconds time. You guys know what to do. Peace out. And as always, stay awesome. I'm The7chaos, signing off.